The Goddess, and I keep you company every Friday along with some of Namibia's biggest artists right here on this platform.
We are still busy with trigonometry, and the last thing that you've learned was the sine rule, where we said A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. Now today we're introducing a new one, which we call the cosine rule. Now, let's just go back on what we said in the beginning. If this is triangle ABC, then this is side A, B, and C. The small letter is opposite the angle. Now the cosine rule says A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine A. And you will see there's always this correlation. This is the side that you want, and that is the angle that you're going to use that. When are we using the cosine rule? We use the cosine rule when we want the third side. That is when you're going to use this cosine rule. And if you look here, you will also see that it is two sides and the included angle that we need to calculate that third angle there. Now, I would like you just to look on page 471, and this is then try now 31. And this is just to find the sides and write the sides. So we're just looking at that now, number A. So you have the triangle DEF, DEF. And we have to label now the sides and the angles. So this will be E, this will be D, and this will be F, so that we just have those sides there. So for instance, if I want to calculate E squared now, it will be F squared plus D squared minus in brackets 2FD cosine, and it's always back to this one, cosine E, cosine E. Number B, PQR, it looks like this, PQR. So if we label the sides, this is side P, this is side R, this is side Q. We can calculate any one now here. Let's say Q squared, then it will be P squared plus R squared minus in brackets 2PR cosine Q. Always coming back to that angle then there. And the last one there, number C, there's the triangle, R is T. So what will the sides be? This is what we want to find now. This is R, this is S, and this is T. Let's say you want to calculate T, then T squared is equal to R squared plus S squared minus 2 times R times S cosine T, coming back to that angle. And the side, that's the one that you want to calculate. Right, now we're looking at try now 32. Try now 32. We'll have to make the sketches. There are no sketches there, and you won't understand if you don't sketch it. So the first one then there, we've got that triangle there, KMR. So this is KMR. And what information do we have? We have that M is 47.2 degrees. That's given. And we know that KM is 5 centimeters, MR is 6 centimeters, and this is now what we need to calculate. Can you see that it is the third side? The cosine rule is for the third side. So I can say now that KR squared is equal to, so now we're going to take those sides, 5 squared plus 6 squared, minus in brackets 2 times 5 times 6, and cosine, can you see the side and the angle is opposite each other, cosine 47.2 degrees. Okay, don't skip steps. It's good that you will first write the next ones down, because this question usually counts 4 marks, and if you just give answers and it's wrong, then you get no marks. So in the first place, we substitute. Then I can say now here that 25 plus 36 minus, and now we have to get a value there in the brackets. So we use our calculators, and it's then 2 times 5 times 6, cosine 47.2 is equal to, and I got now there 40.766. Don't round off in that step. Go for 5 significant figures. We will round off in a final answer, because otherwise we're going to get wrong answers. Right, so in the next step, it will now be 25 plus 36 minus 40.766 is equal to, and there I have 20.234. But now remember, we want KR. So to get rid of that square, we will root this value. You will square root that one. And the answer is then, for that one, 4.5. There's that one. So it counts 4 marks. It's then worth it to put these steps in here. That is where you will get your 4 marks then there. Right, that's number A. Right, I think you should listen to another one, and then you can try them on your own. So we'll have to draw the triangle again, PQR. PQR. Angle R is 32 degrees. PR is 1.4 meters. And QR 2.2. And we want to calculate the third side. That is what you want to calculate. Can you see the two sides? The two sides and the included angle, that is what we want. We want the third side. So this is then going to be PQ squared is equal to 1.4 squared plus 2.2 squared minus, and now there in brackets it will be 2 times 1.4 times 2.2 cosine 32 degrees. I put this in brackets here on purpose because we can also get negative values here, and then some of you tend to forget that that is a negative which we have to use. So let's start there. 1.4 squared plus 2.2 squared is equal to, so I have 6.8 minus, now we're going to get this value here. It is then 2 times 1.4 times 2.2 cosine 32 is equal to, and I have here 5.2239. As we say, don't round off there, that's too soon. We'll have to go further there. Right, so the next step is then 6.8 minus that 5.2239. I got here 1.5761. Now we want to calculate PQ. This was PQ squared. Now we want PQ, so we're going to get the square root of that value. And the answer is then, I have 1.2554. We round off to 3 significant figures, so the rounded off answer will be 1.26. It is a good idea to first write down the unrounded one, because you often need this in a B or a C question, and then you have to redo it again. So first write the unrounded one, and then you round off. That is a helpful hint on these sums. Right, so the next one. Number C. Number C. So it is triangle ABC this time. Triangle ABC. A is 8, which is now this one. Let's just first label them again. This is A, this is B, this is C. So A is 8, C is 6. No, sorry, C is 6. So there's the 6. And angle B is 63 degrees. Again, 2 sides, and the included angle, you want the third side there. Find that B. So B squared is equal to 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 8 times 6 cosine 63 degrees. Right, so now we do it step by step. 8 squared is 64, 6 squared is 36, minus, and there we need to get that value there in the bracket. 2 times 8 times 6 cosine 63. And I have here 43.583. At least 5 significant figures there. So the next step is now we want B, so we're going to add this and then square root it. So 64 plus 36 is 100 minus 43.583, and I have here 56.417, and now we get the root of that one, the square root of your answer, and my answer is 7.5111, and I round it off to 3 significant figures, 7.51. Well done if you got it right. The next one is number D. So this is triangle PQR. PQR, we have to draw it to understand which one is which one. Now, so this is Q, this is P, this is R. They say R is 6 millimeters, P is 7 millimeters, and Q is 101 degrees. This is now an obtuse angle that we have there, and that will play a role. It's important. So I'm going to say that Q squared, this is the one that you want to calculate, is then 6 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7 cosine 101. Now, this is an obtuse angle, and if you think back about cost, then you will remember that in the second quadrant where cosine is obtuse, if I draw the picture now here of cost, in the second quadrant here where I get the obtuse angle, there's my obtuse angle, cosine is negative in this quadrant. So I'm going to get here a negative value. That is what it means by implication. So q squared is then equal to 36 plus 49. Now let's get that value now in that bracket. So it is 2 times 6 times 7 cosine 101. And I got negative 16.0279. Look at the negative. We shouldn't throw that away now. This is an obtuse angle, and that makes the difference then there. So the next step is then 36 plus 49. And now a negative times a negative is a positive 16.0279. So I have here in my root now 101.0279. Let me just check if that one is right. 36 plus 49 plus 16.0279. Yeah, it gives us the same answer. And then we root it. You square root that one. The answer, and the final answer is 10.051. This rounds off to 10.1 centimeters. Good. Well done. Now we're moving to exercise 33. And we have a little bit more of word sums here now. Try now. 33. Page 473. Page 473. In the diagram, so we have a sketch. Let's just redraw it to follow. So P, Q, R, and S. This one is 7. This one is 10. The angle is 62 degrees. And this is a parallelogram, which means my opposite sides will be equal. And I also can work with my angles here, and I will know that this angle will be 118 degrees because I have those parallel lines, co-interior angles there. Now they say find the length of the diagonal QS. That's what we have to calculate now in the first place, QS. Can you see that this is the third side in the right angle triangle? So I can say that QS squared is equal to 10 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 10 times 7 cosine, and this is this angle here, 62 degrees. So this is 100 plus 49, and now we have to get that value inside the brackets. 2 times 10 times 7 cosine 62 is equal to, and I have 65.726. So now we add it here. We want to calculate QS, so we're going to root the value answer that you got now there. 100 plus 49 minus 65.726. So here I have 83.274. And in a final step, we get the square root of that answer, which is 9.1254. That's what I get. Rounding off to 3 significant figures, and it will be 9.13. There's your answer for that one. But there's also a B part, and now they want us to calculate PR. So this is this diagonal. Those two diagonals are not equal. We have now to calculate another angle there. Now this is where we're going to use this 118 degrees, because it means this angle here is 118 degrees. In the parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. We want to calculate PR now. Obviously, this one is also 7 because it is a parallelogram. So I can say that PR squared is equal to 7 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 7 times 10 cosine, and now we use 118 degrees, which is again an obtuse angle. So 49 plus 100, and then in the bracket there, 2 times 7 times 10 cosine 118 degrees, and I have, it should be a negative now again. We'll have a negative value there because of that obtuse angle there. So it's negative 65.726. So PR is equal to, I need to get the square root there. So it's 49 plus 100 plus a negative times a negative is a positive. 65.726 is equal to 214.726, and getting the root of the answer is 14.6535, and to 3 significant figures, if we round it off there, it will round off to 14.7 centimeters for that one. So this is the cosine rule. Very important work. It is in every paper. They're going to ask you this question.
Share with us on #LearnOn1. Tell us what you're learning and where you're learning it from. Send us your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
That you've looked at was the cosine rule, and we use the cosine rule to get the third side every time. So let's just refresh our minds again. If this is triangle ABC, then this is side A, this is side B, and this is side C. Now what we're looking today at now, still actually using the cosine rule, but now we want to find an angle, a specific angle. So you will use this one if you have the 3 sides and you want to calculate the angle. So let's say I want to find cosine A, then we're going to say B squared plus C squared minus A squared. Now this is the important thing, that the angle that you want to calculate, that is the side that you will subtract over 2BC cosine over 2BC. We want to find the angle cosine B. So it is actually the same formula which we just algebraically change, but I prefer for you to learn it like this because otherwise you make mistakes then when we do that. Now, if we look in the textbook now, and the first exercise is now just again finding those sides. So this is now try now 31 on page 471. Page 471. And again, just finding those sides there. So this is triangle try now 34 that we're looking at. So this is page 473. We've already done that other one then there. So this is DEF. Again, if we look at the sides, this will be E, this will be D, and this will be F, so that you can know which one is which one. So if I want to find the angle, let's say I want to find E, then I will say that cosine E is equal to those two sides you're going to add, so it's D squared plus F squared. The one opposite the angle is the one that you're going to subtract over 2 times D times F, the cosine rule to find the angle. Number B, this is PQR. PQR. So this is P, this is Q, that one is R. Now, this time we want to find Q, so I can say that cosine Q is then going to be P squared plus R squared minus Q squared. The one opposite the angle is the one that we subtract over then 2PR. 2PR. And the last one there, number C, R is T, so it is SRT. Opposite the angles, this is R, this is S, this is T. We want to calculate S, so cosine S is equal to, now you take the other two sides, R squared plus T squared minus S squared. The one opposite the angle is the one that we subtract, and then it's the 2 times R times T. So that's just now to know how to find those sides every time. So we're looking now at try now 35, page 474, page 474. Again, we'll have to draw them. So there's the first one, triangle KES. KES. Right, the values that we have is KE is 12, ES is 7, and KS is 8. So you have the 3 sides. That's when you can find the angle. And we want to calculate S. That is the marked angle. So this time I can say then that cosine S is equal to, this is the one that I must subtract. So it is 7 squared plus 8 squared minus 12 squared over 2 times 7 times 8. Now, we'll do it now in the first place step by step. So it will be 7 squared plus 8 squared minus 12 squared is equal to, so there I have negative 31. Again, do not throw the negative away, but that means you're going to get an obtuse angle. And then here the denominator, 2 times 7 times 8, and this is 112. Now, negative 31 divided by 112 is equal to negative 0.27678. Again, let's go for 5 significant figures. Now remember, we want the angle. So eventually, this is going to be second function cosine. Second function cosine, your answer, and then I got 106.1 degree. Remember, angles are to 1 decimal place. So this is how we're going to find this angle. Now I want you to try the following ones first before you mark them. First try them. So the next one that we are looking at now is number B. Number B. So again, I'm going to draw my triangle. This is LMN. LMN. So LM is 13, MN is 10, and NL is 22. I have 3 sides. The angle that we want to calculate is angle M. This one is opposite. This is the one that you're going to subtract. So I can say that cosine M is equal to 13 squared plus 10 squared minus 22 squared over 2 times 13 times 10. We want the angle, but let's first do it step by step. I'm going to try now to do the whole one there. So it is then 13 squared plus 10 squared minus 22 squared. Close the bracket is equal to divide by 2 times 13 times 10. If you use brackets, you'll get it easier. I have now negative 0.82692. I want the angle, so it is going to be second function cosine my answer. And that is 145.8 degrees. That's what I have there, 145.8 degrees. Right, the last one, number C. Triangle ABC, have to draw it to find the ideas. Usually in the exam you will get questions with drawings then there. So now here, let's again find, this is A, this is B, this is C. So A is 12, B is 13, and C is 5. Find angle A. This is the angle that we want to calculate. So cosine A is equal to, this is the one that I should subtract opposite the angle. So it is 5 squared plus 13 squared minus 12 squared over 2 times 5 times 13. Okay, let's get a value there, and then we can second function cosine it. As I say, if you use extra brackets here, you can press it immediately. Minus 12 squared, and then I divide it by 2 times 5 times 13, and I got 0.38461. Second function cosine your answer, and my final answer. Remember, we have to write A now. It's not cosine A anymore. Then otherwise it's mathematically not correct. So A then is 67.4 degrees. 67.4 degrees. Right, I hope you got it right. The next exercise that we look at now is try now 36. Page 475. Try now 36. Now the first one there is triangle PQR. PQR. And let's label them again. This is P, this is Q, this is R. Now they say P is 3.8, Q is 5.3, and R is 6.7. I've got 3 sides. And I want to find the largest angle. I want to find the largest angle. Now what we need to know is that the largest angle is opposite the longest side, and the smallest angle is opposite the shortest side. So the longest one from these is R. So that is the angle that we want to calculate now here. So cosine R is then equal to, this is the one that I must subtract, so it will be 3.8 squared plus 5.3 squared minus 6.7 squared. That's the one that you're going to subtract. And then we multiply 2 times 3.8 times 5.3. So let's get a value then there. 3.8 squared plus 5.3 squared minus that 6.7 squared is equal to, and then we divide here by 2 times 3.8 times 5.3, and I got negative, so it gives me a negative 1, which means I'm going to get an obtuse angle then there, 0.5858. So R, second function, cosine, your answer is equal to 93.4 degrees. Angles to 1 decimal place. So remember, the longest side is opposite the biggest angle. And then number B. So we have triangle ABC this time. There's your triangle ABC. Let's mark the sides. This is A, this is B, this is C. AB is 7.8. AC is 4.9 and BC 9.1. Find the angles of the triangle ABC. So this time we just need to find them all. Doesn't matter where you start. Let's say we start there with A, angle A. So here we're going to subtract. So cosine A is then equal to 4.9 squared plus 7.8 squared minus 9.1 squared over 2 times 4.9 times 7.8, the first two there. Okay, so if you go now through all the steps, second function cosine, this whole value here, then I got that A is 88.5 degrees, angles to 1 decimal place. Right, let's take number B. Cosine B, which side do you have to subtract? This one, opposite the angle. So this time it's going to be 7.8 squared plus 9.1 squared minus 4.9 squared over 2 times 7.8 times 9.1, second function cosine. We want the value of B, and my B is 32.6 degrees. And now it's actually not necessary to do a calculation on C, because we know that the interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So you can just subtract it now there, and then we got that C is 59.0 degrees, 59.0 degrees. The next one is try now 37. And this is now a mixed exercise. So this is now a good, very good one to see if we do understand the work. Right, so the first one, again, first do them before you mark this. In triangle PQR, so I keep on drawing my triangles, PQR. PQ is 7 centimeters, angle P is 32 degrees, and angle Q is 41 degrees. Right, now the question is, which formula should I use? You know now 4 formulas: the sine rule, the cosine rule, the angle cosine rule, and the area. That is the 4 that we have now. So it is A over sine A, which is equal to B over sine B. This is my sine rule. This is A squared, which is B squared plus C squared minus in brackets 2BC cosine A, or it is the angle cosine A, which is then B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. And then we also did the area formula, which is a half BC sine A. Half BC sine A. And now I'll have to think every time which one of these formulas is the one that I'm going to use. Which one do I choose? Right, so we are busy now with try now 37, and we have to make the choice which formula are we going to use. So the first one, let's go back to this one. Number one, the PQR. This one is 7 centimeters. This one is 32. Q is 41. I want to calculate PR. This is what I want to calculate. That is why unknown one. So which formula are you going to use? Now, the sine rule is for opposite sides and opposite angles. But I actually don't have R, so I need to find R first, and then I can do this calculation. So it will be X. That one that I want to find is the one that I put in the left-hand top. So it's X over sine 41, which is equal to 7. And now we need to find angle R. We need to find angle R there. And R is then 180 minus 32 minus 41, which is 107. So then it will be here over sine 107 degrees. It's important that you will get that third angle there. Opposite sides, opposite angles. That is what we use. So X or PR is then 7 times sine 41 divided by sine 107. And then I got that PR then is 4.80. This is PR or X. That's PR that we want to calculate. In the B part, they ask the area of the triangle. We know that area is a half BC sine A. Again, it's important that you will choose the correct sides. This is two sides and the included angle. So you need two sides and the included angle. Now we have here only one side. We know now that this one is 4.8. So it means the 32 is my included angle. That's what I will use. Two sides and the included angle. So the area is then going to be a half of 4.8 times 7, and it is sine 32 degrees. The included angle that you will use there. Very easy. We can just press the calculators there, and I got that the area is 8.90. This was centimeters, square centimeters then there. Square centimeters. Number 2. As we say, this is a nice mixed exercise. Now here we'll have to draw the picture. A village has 3 features: the school, the bridge, and the church. The school, the bridge, and the church. Doesn't matter how you draw this now. CB is 120 meters. SB is 86. And SBC is 78 degrees. So that is the two sides and the included angle here. And now the question is, how far is the school from the church? So what we want to calculate is this, how far. Can you see that you want to calculate the third side? The third side is always about the cosine rule. Like in a right angle triangle, we do Pythagoras. Here we use the cosine rule. So that means that SC squared is equal to 86 squared plus 120 squared minus 2 times 86 times 120 cosine, and now we use this angle here, then you have 17504.7027. If we get the square root of that now to get SC, and then the answer is 132 meters there for that one. Right, the next one, question 3. Question 3. So we have a sketch there, and you can immediately see that here is also a right angle triangle there. A, that one is 6, this one is 8, the whole one here is 9, CDB. Now we want to calculate angle ABC. And you can see that we can work there in a right angle triangle ABC, but the right angle triangle is now here, ABD. So we have to calculate, we want to calculate angle B. So this is the angle that you want to find here. This is angle B. So I will have to do this with a cosine rule. I've got 3 sides, but it is not in the right angle triangle. So I can say that cosine B is then equal to 8 squared plus 9 squared. This is the one that you're going to subtract, plus 9 squared minus 6 squared, and it is then 2 over 8 times 9. Second function cosine, we're going to use second function cosine there. My angle is 40.8 degrees. Now they want the length of AD. That is what we want to find now. Now we can work in this right angle triangle. Can you see? We know now this angle. Which function will we use? This is now back to sine, cosine, or tan. And if we look at that, this is the opposite, and this is the hypotenuse. So which function will you choose? Sine. So sine 40.8 degrees is equal to AD over 8. Which method? Top times. So AD is then 8 times sine 40.8, and I got 5.23. So now this is mixed exercises that we have here. Number 4 is again a parallelogram that you have there. We have those lines of symmetry. PR is 22 and QS is 12. So this is this diagonal here, which is 12 degrees. And then we also have that QAR is 63 degrees, this angle here. Obviously, this one will also be 63 degrees. And you can get the other angle here because it's a straight line. So we can say 180 minus 63, and that gives you then that angle of 117 degrees here that we have there. This line is 12. So we have to calculate the length of QR. Now, what we know is that these diagonals intersect, so that is then a half of that one, which means this part here will be 6, and that part there will also be 6. That's a fact of a parallelogram which we may use then there. And the half of this one, PR, yeah, actually this is not the one which is 22, but this one is 22. So it means that half of 22 will then be 11 and 11 that we have there on each side there. So to calculate the length of QR now, QR, that's what we want to find now. So we can work in this triangle there, and we can work then with cosine. We can work with cosine to calculate that one, right? So we're going to work now in this triangle here. So I can say that cosine and the angle that I want to calculate now there is angle, or the length of QR, that's what we want to calculate, but we work then in triangle QAR. That is now the one that we are working with here. So I can use the cosine rule again. I've got the two sides and the included angle, and I want to find QR now, the third side there. So we can say that QR squared is then 6 squared plus 11 squared minus, in brackets, 2 times 6 times 11, and we use that cosine 63 degrees there to calculate that one. So I got here that QR is equal to 9.85 centimeter. That's my rounded off answer. Then we have to calculate PQ, which is now this one. This is the one that we want to calculate. So this time we will use now this angle here of 117 degrees. Two sides and the included angle, and then I can calculate the third one. So PQ squared is now equal to 6 squared plus 11 squared, it's half of those sides, minus, in brackets, 2 times 6 times 11, and this time it is cosine 117 degrees that we're going to use. And now I found that PQ is then 14.7 centimeters. 14.7 centimeters. And then in the last part there, question C, now they want to find PQR. In that parallelogram. So this is this angle that we want to calculate now there. I will use the cosine rule now to get that one, because I've got the three sides now. So cosine Q is then equal to PQR. So I'll have the two sides now, which is now the 9.85 squared plus the 14.7 squared minus, in brackets, 2 times 9.85 times 14.7 cosine Q. But we want to find the angle, so we'll have to subtract it. And we'll actually have to use the other formula. So cosine Q is then equal to 9.85 squared plus 14.7 squared. And now we have to minus PR, which was 22, over then 9.85 squared, not squared, 2 times 9.85 times 14.7. And then second function, cosine, and my angle is 129.9 degrees. So we'll have to use the cosine rule where we find the angle then there. Question 5, the last one here. It is not a right angle triangle. This is RDA, 17, 20, 13. Right, so we've got the three roads between the three cities. The first one that we want to calculate is RAD. I've got three sides. If I want to calculate the angle, I'm going to use the cosine rule. So I can say that cosine A is then equal, this is the one that I'm going to subtract, so it will be 20 squared plus 13 squared minus 17 squared. That's the one that you subtract, 2 times 20 times 13. Second function, cosine, to find that angle there, and I got 57.4 degrees. 57.4 degrees, so this is now this angle that we found. Then they want the shortest distance from R to AD. From R to AD. Now the shortest distance will be there. The shortest distance will actually then also be a perpendicular distance that we have here between the two. That would be your shortest distance then there. So here we're going to use the sine rule now here. 5. So this one will then be number B. So I can say that sine A is then equal to RM over RA. You can just look here, RM, this is now the shortest distance that we want to find here, over RA. This is then actually a 90-degree angle, so that's why we can use the sine function now there for that one. And then I can say that this is then, if we substitute now here, then it is sine 57.4 degrees. This is the angle that we got now there, is equal to RM over RA, which is 13, here. So then, which method? Top times 13, multiply with that one. So RM is 11 kilometers there, 11 kilometers. And the last one, number C, now we have to calculate the area. Area is half BC sine A. Just remember that it should be 2 sides and the included angle. So this is why we're going to use 13 and 20, and the angle A is then sine A, and we got A now to be 57.4, so 57.4 degrees. Calculating there, my area is 110, if I round it off, square kilometers. Right, thank you, grade 11s. This is then a nice mixed exercise that we looked at now.
She's my dabita. Sugar mommy, and sugar mommy, yeah. Sugar mommy, when she rides me, I get knocked out for a couple of seconds. She's so experienced.
Whole house.
Yeah. At the office, man, it's strictly